I'm Kimberly.
3 weeks ago, at our family's Thanksgiving dinner, I walked into the house carrying Grandma Elsie's apple pie. As I entered the dining room, I noticed something was off. There were 23 relatives sitting around the table, but my place was gone. My mother, Vera, looked at me coldly and said, "There's no room for failures here." Without a word, I took an envelope from my pocket and placed it on my father, Richard's plate. "Happy Thanksgiving," I said. "I finally understand why you've always treated me like an outsider." The DNA results inside that envelope were the answer to a lifetime of questions, but they also opened up a mystery that no one in that room could solve. Let me take you back to 6 months ago, to the day Grandma Elsie passed away. The funeral home smelled of lilies and antiseptic. I arrived early just like Grandma always taught me. I wanted to help with the arrangements, but my mother was already there, bossing around the staff like a drill sergeant. "Kimberly," she said without looking up from her clipboard, "you can stand by the door and greet the guests." I was stunned. I'd spent the last 5 years visiting Grandma every Sunday, taking her to doctor's appointments and holding her hand through the tough times. I pointed this out, but she just replied, "Your sister, Lily, is coming from out of town. She needs the space in the front row." The service was beautiful, but I felt like an outsider. Lily cried gracefully in the front row while I stood in the back, watching my family grieve together without me. After the service, a lawyer approached me. He introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, Grandma's attorney. He said Grandma had left something for me, but he needed time to verify some details. To understand that moment, you need to know what the past 10 years were like. I was 22, a junior at the university, majoring in art and history, with plans to become a curator. Then my mother was diagnosed with early-stage cancer. At the family meeting, my father said someone needed to stay home and help her through treatment. Since Lily was in a pre-med program and couldn't interrupt her studies, I volunteered. For 2 years, I took care of my mother through chemotherapy, radiation, and all the side effects. When she recovered, I asked about going back to school, but my father said it was too late. "You're 24 now. Get a job and help with the bills," he said. Lily graduated from medical school 4 years later. Her graduation party was a huge event with 100 guests, a catered meal, and a champagne toast. I spent the whole night washing dishes. One day, I was looking for a photo of Grandma for her birthday card and found the family photo albums. Lily had an entire album filled with her achievements, while I had only 3 pictures of myself: a baby photo, a kindergarten picture, and a blurry Christmas shot. I asked Grandma about it once, and she said, "Your mother has a secret, dear. And until she faces it, she'll keep taking it out on you." 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, Mr. Thompson called me. He said Grandma's instructions were very specific. The envelope couldn't be opened until 6 months after her passing. He had everything ready for me. I met him at his office that afternoon. The envelope was thick, sealed with green wax, and had Grandma's handwriting on it. For Kimberly. Mr. Thompson also read a note from Grandma. "Read this when you're ready to face the truth I couldn't tell you in life. I'm sorry it took so long. I love you, Elsie." I drove home with the envelope on the passenger seat, feeling like I was carrying a ticking time bomb. I put it in my nightstand drawer. I wasn't ready. 5 days before Thanksgiving, my mother called. "Thanksgiving is at our house this year. The whole family will be there. Lily has an important announcement. You need to come an hour early to help set up," she said, and hung up. The next day, I found out what Lily's announcement was. She posted a photo on Facebook of herself with a big baby bump. She was having a baby, and they were naming it after Grandma Elsie. That night, I decided to open the envelope. Inside, there was a letter from Grandma, a DNA report, and a redacted birth certificate. Grandma's letter said that I wasn't Richard's biological daughter. She'd suspected it for years, because of the way my mother treated me. 2 years ago, she'd taken samples of my hair and Richard's glass and sent them to a private lab. The results showed a 0% probability that Richard was my father. Grandma confronted my mother, who begged her not to tell anyone. She was afraid Richard would leave her. But Grandma couldn't let me live in the dark forever. Thanksgiving morning, I arrived at my parents' house with Grandma's apple pie. When I looked for my seat at the table, it was gone. My mother said they'd run out of room, and I'd have to eat in the kitchen after the main meal. Lily, with her pregnant belly, said the last seat was for the baby. I followed my mother into the kitchen. I tried to talk to her, but she brushed me off. She said I'd dropped out of school because I couldn't handle it, and that I was only good for helping the family. I asked if there was something she wasn't telling me, and for a split second, I saw fear in her eyes. My father walked in and sided with my mother. He said I was my mother's daughter, and she decided everything. I knew then that he'd known or suspected something for a long time. Aunt Grace, my mother's younger sister, arrived later. She was the one who always remembered my birthdays with hand-written cards. When I told her they hadn't given me a seat at the table, she was furious. Asked her if Grandma had ever talked to her about me. She admitted that she'd driven Grandma to the lab 2 years ago. She also warned me that my mother had spent years hiding this secret and wouldn't let it come out easily. As the family gathered for the meal, my father made a toast, thanking everyone but me. Lily made an announcement about the baby, and the whole family celebrated. I stood in the kitchen, listening to their laughter, feeling more alone than ever. After the main course, I brought out Grandma's apple pie. My mother scoffed at it, saying they had a catered dessert. I asked why I didn't have a seat at the table, and she called me a disappointment. That's when I snapped. I took the envelope and walked to my father's place at the head of the table. I placed it on his plate and said, "Happy Thanksgiving, Dad. I'm not your daughter." The room erupted in chaos. My father opened the envelope and read the DNA results. His face went pale. Lily claimed it was a fake, but Mr. Thompson had sent it, and Aunt Grace confirmed she'd been there when the samples were collected. My mother started sobbing, saying she'd made a mistake when she was young. She'd had an affair and gotten pregnant with me. She'd lied to my father and let him raise me, but she'd always seen me as a reminder of her guilt. My father admitted that he'd suspected something when I was 5, after a doctor mentioned my blood type. But he'd chosen to ignore it because he was afraid of the consequences. I asked my mother who my real father was, but she refused to tell me. She said she'd take the secret to her grave. I told her I'd find out on my own, using DNA databases, genealogy websites, and private investigators. I picked up the pie and left the house. Lily chased after me, saying I'd ruined her special day. I told her she'd had a lifetime of special days while I'd been ignored. I was done pretending we were a real family. Aunt Grace caught up with me outside. She gave me a piece of paper with the information of a private investigator. Grandma had started the process of finding my real father before she got sick. There were 3 possibilities. One was dead, one lived in another country, and one lived just 20 minutes away. In the days that followed, my parents' marriage fell apart. My father filed for divorce. The rest of the family started to reach out to me, apologizing for the way they'd treated me. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, my father found me at the art gallery where I worked. He showed me a photo from a company picnic. There was a young man standing next to my mother, and he looked vaguely familiar. His name was Henry Carter. He'd worked with my mother before I was born, and then transferred to another company. My father said he'd always been jealous of how often she mentioned him. Now, I'm 33. I've enrolled in night classes at a community college to finish my degree. I've been promoted at the gallery. Lily had her baby, a girl named Elsie, just like she'd said. My mother called to tell me, but I'm still not sure if I'm ready to forgive her. There's a text message on my phone from Henry Carter. The investigator told me he'd found out about me and wanted to meet. I haven't opened it yet. I'm taking my time. For the first time in my life, I'm in control of my own story.